Greetings, Journey family. Pastor Jerry checking in with a couple of announcements. I want to start with a reminder, and that is that God is not surprised. God is not caught unawares by the events of your day, your week, your month, what's happened to you in the midst of social distancing. He has known and knows what is happening and what is coming. And so I pray that that's a comfort to you, that as you think about your life and the days of it, he is well aware. He is in front of you, and he knows what is coming. That has been revealed to us, right? That while we do not know, I hope that you find comfort in the fact that he absolutely does. And I've been at Planting Journey now for more than a decade, and little of it has gone in the way that I anticipated or planned or thought it would. He has grown us in moments when it seemed like he shouldn't have been able to, and times when, quite frankly, I felt like we should have been growing. We often weren't. And so I am amazed at the way that I've seen his sovereign hand continue to move and work throughout the last decade, throughout the last 46 years of my life. I do want to say this. I know that we have had several new faces show up. I've been getting messages and emails and some stuff kind of behind the scenes where we've had some new folks participating and joining us, whether that's in Sunday mornings on worship or checking out the things that are going on. And it's neat to see how in the midst of all the things that are happening, God is building and growing his church. And that's been my prayer from the beginning as we began to see even inklings that this was coming, that we wouldn't waste a global pandemic, that the Lord would use it to build and grow his church as only he can. I pray that if you are one of those new faces, or if you're someone who had been maybe at the edges or maybe just beginning to check us out, that the Lord is bringing you inside of his church, even in these days of social distancing, even when it's a little weird and different and not the norm. I pray that you would be coming inside with us. In light of that, we want to talk about community groups today. The purpose of this really is to announce that we're adding some groups, and that's going to make some changes and some shifts to those of us that have already been participating in groups as we make room for more faces. At the moment, what we've been experiencing in the months before social distancing, we were watching and we were starting to track the trends in 2019, and as we were talking about what was coming, roughly half of the families, the family units at Journey have been participating in community, predominantly in three really big, sort of overfull, over-childrened groups. And so we know that there have been some folks who would love to be able to participate, who have tried to participate, but found that our current structure was just really not working very well for them. And so we've known that there were some transitions that were needed. We were in plans for those. We were sort of getting ready to do some of that work, and this has pressed our timeline a little faster maybe than we had intended, but God's obviously up to something different than we are. So here's what is going to happen. Currently, all of our three groups are meeting virtually on pretty much a weekly or bi-weekly basis. They've been gathering Zoom calls or Google Hangouts and trying to kind of do existing groups. But we're going to add this week, we're going to add 2 new groups. That'll get us to 5, hoping that that's going to make some more space for some people to come in, because we don't believe that we're going to be doing this virtually forever, right? The day will come when we're able to be back in people's houses and sitting around again around a table eating meals. And so we're trying to prepare for that in advance by multiplying our groups, making space, and hoping that we can draw some folks that have maybe been at the edges or the fringes, and maybe some people that haven't even been to the edge of the fringe yet, inside into our community. So these new groups are going to be designed to create opportunities, right? As we think about the vision and mission of Journey, that has not changed regardless of a global pandemic. We want to be a place where we are making disciples who are following the Son and who are walking with people. And so we're inviting you to come in and walk with us. For those of you who are new, or maybe you've been around a while and you've been at, again, one of those edges or fringes, maybe you used to be in a group and you aren't anymore. Maybe you tried it and it didn't work for you. Maybe it's been a schedule issue and you just, you couldn't do it in the middle of the week and something. We're going to try and do this sort of better and differently. We're going to try and spread ourselves out. And so you should each be, if you have been at the edge and a fringe, getting an invitation from one of the leaders of these groups. There's going to be 5 groups, and so one of those leaders should be reaching out to you in the next couple of days, inviting you to come in and participate with them. Again, it's going to be a Zoom call or a Google Hangout, and we're hoping that we can sort of set the bar low. We're gonna make the cost of entry low, as it were, that you can come and participate with us. Check us out. At least give us a week. Come and participate with us for 45 minutes. See what it's like, and we're hoping that it will provide some value and some connection in this kind of day and time for you. We don't want you to be out on the edges by yourself. We want to fold you in. We want to draw you in. We want to connect with you. We want you to have a tribe. I'm always reminded of, when I think about community groups, of the movie Toy Story when they're getting ready to move. I think it's in the second one, and they're talking about getting traveling buddies, right? We want you to have people. We want you to have a tribe of people that are walking these days and these roads with you, that know you and know your struggles and are praying with and for you. If you are someone who is interested, you don't have to wait for a leader to reach out. You can, if you message me, if you comment, if you text me, we will make certain that you are connected into one of those groups. And maybe you're one of those new faces and we don't maybe even have your information yet, but you're interested, please let us know. We want you to be a part. For those of you who have been in a group, maybe you have been and are currently in a group, we know that you love your group. We know that God has been doing amazing, good things. It's the reason the groups have been sort of overfull, because the Lord has been doing such good stuff in and through them. And we know that while it may feel to you like we're messing with a good thing, and that potentially it can feel even like a loss to you as we make some of these transitions, what I'm asking is that you would be excited with us to see how God is going to use these new groups. As we make space for the whole church to come in and be a part, as you have the opportunity to connect with some of the new faces, you're invited to welcome and include and get to know some of these folks that maybe you've been saying hi to on a Sunday morning, but you don't really know all that well. This is going to be your opportunity. A leader is also going to be inviting you. It may mean you're with a different group of faces. Hopefully you'll be with some folks that you know. That's sort of the way we've tried to design it. And we're not trying to force anybody into any group. This is nobody's getting an arm twisted behind their back. And so if the day or the time or the leader or the whatever doesn't work for you, you're allowed to say, boy, this one doesn't work and I'd really like to try this other one. But what we're hoping is that we don't end up with, again, sort of 3 big giant groups, because no one was willing to make that transition, but that we sort of spread ourselves out into some of these new corners in hopes that we'll have sort of 5 healthy groups. And we are starting these groups pregnant. We've got the next round of leaders in many cases already identified, ready to multiply out if the groups get too large. And so that over the next several months, we will again be able to multiply out our groups. That's what we anticipate we're going to need to do. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing. We want to begin to see groups that way, that the health of them is that they're multiplying and growing, not staying stagnant, that we're making room at the table for folks to come in. And so we're going to ask you to participate with us in that. What that also means is that this is a great time, the perfect time maybe, to invite and gather someone that you've been hoping would be a part. Maybe that's a neighbor or a friend or a family member, especially in this time when we're not bound by geography. Maybe you've got someone that you've been wanting to share and invite into community, into our church community, even just to come in and meet with Jesus. This would be a great opportunity to do that, because we are doing it virtually. And again, because the bar is sort of low, the hurdle to get folks to show up might be lower than it would otherwise. We're asking you to see this as that opportunity to do it. One of my favorite stories about Jesus, and if you've been around Journey for any length of time, you've probably heard me tell the story on a Sunday morning, is Jesus and the woman at the well. Usually I tell the beginnings of the story where he talks about springs of living water. But there's an interesting thing that happens in the middle of that story. Jesus has been sharing with the woman, and Jesus' friends, his apostles, have been out someplace else, and they show back up at the well, and they see Jesus talking to this woman, and they don't get it, because she's a Samaritan, and they don't understand why he's been talking to her. And what we see pretty quickly is that they're concerned with themselves. In fact, what they start to talk to Jesus about is lunch. They're like, hey, isn't it time to get something to eat? And Jesus knows that they're not really concerned with his lunch, Jesus' lunch. They're really concerned with their own lunch. And Jesus says something. It's in John chapter 4, verse 35. He says this line, look, I tell you, lift up your eyes. In other words, stop looking at yourself and look around you and see what's happening. He said, lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest. He was telling them, I believe he was telling us, that while we are primarily concerned with ourselves, and in the midst, again, of global pandemic, of social distancing and stay-at-home orders, we can be very concerned with ourselves. And we can be concerned with our wants and our needs and our hopes and our dreams and our fears. But Jesus was saying to them, I think he's saying to us today, we should be concerned with the people who he is ready to harvest. He is ready to bring into himself, into the family, into the church. And this is the moment. And so may we be faithful to see the opportunity that he is presenting to us right now to welcome and invite and draw. If you've got questions or concerns, if you've got things that you want explained to you, I'm happy to do so. Message me, text me, call me. I'll talk you through it. If you want to be sure that you get connected to a group, again, please comment. Please write me. Please communicate with one of the leaders that you know that has been in existence. We want the whole church to come inside. We want us all to be being well cared for and known, and we're inviting you to be a part. Journey family, I love you. I'm praying for you. I look forward to all that the Lord is going to do in the life of his church. And I'm praying these things for your good and his glory. Have a great week.